the real deal, New England feel.
I went off the rails. I might so down to be ashamed of myself.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe's with us in the booth, and you are watching us on YouTube. When you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, give us that thumbs up, give us that like. That's what we're looking for. So leave a comment. We'll read it on the show. So make sure you are doing that. Or if you're listening to us, you're doing it on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, anywhere you podcast, you can catch us. And make sure you send us an email in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. And listen, they're piling up. We know we haven't had one in a couple of weeks, we're getting your points out without reading them. So don't worry about that. But keep them coming, or you can give us a call on Heated Hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. It's a message line 24/7. Have a take, leave us a message. Got a busy one, got a good one in Weekly Rewind. We're going to talk the Patriots scrimmage. Well, we recorded last week. They hadn't scrimmaged yet. They didn't look so good. So I'm going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the joint practice with the Washington Redskins. We're recording on Thursday, though they play tomorrow night, the preseason useless game. But the more important thing we're going to talk about, which was the joint practice, we'll do it in Weekly Rewind. And, of course, we'll see what he has in Catone's comments today. So stick around for that. And I know he has a lot to say today in Yankees versus Red Sox. And you're definitely not going to want to miss this Yankee rant today. So stick around for that. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, listen, one more day, and we see a real game.
Wow.
Not real, but at least they'll have uniforms on.
And we're going to talk about that tomorrow in the Pats Nation. Tune in for that because we're going to want to talk. You'll have already seen the game when these shows are airing, but we're going to talk about the point of the preseason games. You know, they should televise the joint practices is what they should do.
Well, tomorrow's going to be a special game anyways.
That's right.
Tell them
why is that, Joe?
No, Mr. Number 12 is unveiling his statue.
Yeah, and you're going to be there.
Foxborough, and
I'm going to be there. You're going to get there early enough to see the unveiling?
Yeah, I'm going to try to get some footage, so hopefully we can get something and show some of the fans a little bit something.
Good.
What's going on tomorrow. But they do
Sounds
play the
good.
Commanders, so should be cool.
Yeah, it should be. But what we do need to talk about is we need to go back and we need to talk about the Commanders, the joint practices, the scrimmages, and how the hell this team is looking in camp for the real deal New England field. You guys want to do that?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it in Weekly Rewind. Joe? Going back through the week. About a Weekly Rewind. Okay, so they're in camp and they're going strong. And we went when we aired, they had their scrimmage. We record on Thursdays, so they had their scrimmage, inter-squad scrimmage in the stadium last Friday, and it didn't look so good. And it's interesting. I want to talk, Mark, first about the coaching, the organizational structure of this camp, of what VRABEL's doing over here. And it was interesting because Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal noticed a couple of things about this, and this is what he had to say.
It's been the lightest training camp that I have ever covered in terms of work, some of the decisions that they've made, veteran time off.
Mayo ran was so good last year.
Look,
he did run a tough
he's certainly
camp,
entitled to it. Mike Vrabel's way smarter than I am.
Well,
I'm just telling you that in my history of covering the NFL over 20 years, this is the lightest training camp that I've ever covered. Paul Kaharski down in Nashville has his own site, and he's covered the Titans for years, and he said that the Vrabel did the exact same thing when he was in Tennessee. And then I was like, well, let me look at how Vrabel's team started the season. And, hey, if they started great, he's on to something. That was not the case. Vrabel lost his last 3 season openers as head coach of the Titans, and he lost 4 of the 6 when he was there.
Now, that's Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal. Now, Mark, he's making the leap, though, that he's equating a soft camp to open up with losses. That's a big jump.
That's a real big jump. Yeah, a real big jump. First of all, Chris, I want to know what's a light camp. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Oh, it's a lightest camp I've seen in 20 years. Well, first of all, Greg, why don't you elaborate a little bit? What is your definition of light mean? What does that entail? What are they not doing that you've seen over the last 20 years? I don't know. What does that even mean, Chris? I don't know what it means. That tells me nothing because I don't know what it means. What? They're not running hills? What? They're not doing what Mayo did last year? They won their opener. Yeah, big deal, Greg. They won 2 games after that, you imbecile. 2 games, Greg, they won after that because they ran a hell of a camp. It was tough camp.
There was definitely more hitting in Mayo's camp. I think some of the things he's noticing are not a lot of taking the tackling, for example. No taking to the ground. Okay, nobody's going to the ground. Everybody's staying upright, which is actually the way things are now. I mean, you're not taking a lot of guys to the ground anymore. It's not really what's done. But the physicality, I don't think is there.
That, Chris, yeah. But you know what, though, Chris? If you even remember the last couple of Belichick camps, right?
Yeah.
This is what this league has become, though, too. So I think you got to take with what he said with a grain of salt because the league has changed, Chris. I don't think anybody. I mean, Harbaugh out in the Chargers even made a comment about it last year. Like he couldn't do the things he used to do at San Francisco anymore because
beating the crap out of the guys like he was doing in Michigan, beating those poor kids up over there.
But the league rules don't allow it. Training camp rules, Chris. You can only put pads on so many days in a row. Then you're gonna have so many days without pads. You need you know what I mean. So I get what God is saying, Chris, but you gotta take it in context. And he just threw that out there to see.
Well, I think the one thing I will say, okay, is so forget the physicality for a minute. We're talking about. What's he allowing guys to get away with now? How much is he pushing guys? I mean, because we looked at VRABEL and we thought, okay, he's gonna be a wise ass to these guys. He's gonna push them a little bit. He's gonna get in their face some. He's gonna get in the media and call them out some. He's gonna do these kinds of things. We haven't really seen it. I mean, Morgan Moses. I mean, this is a guy that's basically working part time over there. He comes in, he comes out, he comes in. I mean, they're just not really doing anything with him.
Yeah.
And when they have bad like this was a cut that he talked about after the scrimmage. They had a poor showing offensively with turnovers.
This was Friday night, you're saying? This
was Friday night inter-squad scrimmage where they had 6 possessions, 3 turnovers on 6 possessions. Drake made through two picks. Stevenson put the ball on the ground. Again, and this is what VRABEL had to say about that.
Kind of sloppy, a couple of interceptions. Ramondre put the ball on the ground.
When asked about it.
Yeah, the turnovers. You know, I thought we did some really good things and tried to show them that. You know, the turnovers are certainly going to get us beat. We had some passes that should have been caught. We had some, you know, I would say decisions, right? I think, and hopefully, you know, when we ask a receiver, you know, run a play like that, that if it's not there, there's other ways to get out of the play. And he could continue to run. It's out of the pocket, he could throw it away. So those are great things to teach on in those specific instances. And Ramondre, you know, make a great cut and you break through. Know that every team in the league is, and hopefully ours is one of those teams that, you know, the guys coming to the ball and they're going to come and hammer it and they're going to play full tilt to the tackle. And so the great cut. Good job in the open field, and you know, fortunately, we'll have to continue to rep that and take care of the football. But that's something that those things that you mentioned, I think, overshadow a lot of the good stuff.
He's soft. He's soft. What kind of comment is that? I mean, you turn the ball over. You look like shit. You look like crap. Your offensive possessions. You're turning the ball over. So now what? So you're going to come out and say, oh. Well, you know, let's talk about the good things that we did there. The good things. How about, no, you can't put the ball on the ground. It's unacceptable. And if you're going to put the ball on the ground, you're not going to see the goddamn field. End of story. Why aren't we hearing that? Or why aren't they hearing that?
Well, maybe they are hearing it in private.
I don't know.
Because Chris, they did have a much different performance in the joint practice.
They did.
Much, much different. In the joint practice.
They were the tougher of the two teams.
They were the tougher of the two teams. I was just going to say that. Drake may outplay Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Without question. There wasn't even a question that he outplayed him.
And we're going to talk about that in the next segment.
We're going to talk about that in the next section. But my point in saying that, Chris, is whatever tactic he used after that Friday night session must have got through to him, because they were a different team in the joint practices than they were on Friday night. And listen, I think we thought we were going to see a Mike VRABEL, like one of these, I think, like what you think of 20 years ago. Well, that's not the case.
Well, but though, is it because now they go to the joint practices, there's a scrum, a fight, or whatever happens. He gets down in the middle of that to break it up. He comes out all bloodied up. Yeah. And I don't think, this is what the players think of him.
That's what we're trying to build, I think. And it starts with the coach, starts with the head coach, the intensity, bringing it every day, taking no crap, when we're out there on the field. But also it comes at a time where with our guys offensively and getting over there and getting some tussles and kind of having some penalties and extra after the whistle can get us in trouble. But for mentality, I like it. I think that's what you want. I almost got in there, but I think maybe another day, maybe. So we'll see.
He's right there with us, man. I think that player comes out in him a little bit too. But you got to love a coach that loves to compete, has those competitive juices just like us.
Man, that shows a lot, man, about our coach, man. He'll do anything for us, and that's love right there. He got cut too. Yeah. Yeah, I said, Coach,
Pop Douglas.
With you, man. He said, hey, you should see the other guy. So, I laughed at that for sure.
So they got loads of respect for him. Obviously.
Listen, though, Chris.
So,
listen,
the toughness, and then we got to move on. But yeah.
But listen, Chris. Also, you heard May. I think it was May who said something about he gets into you on the field. Like some of those instances on the field, Chris, where he pulls a guy aside and is having a conversation with them. You don't know what that conversation's like. Like he may be telling him, "Get your head out of your, what." And you know what I mean? He's delivering it very calmly. He's not screaming and pointing in someone's face, but I think he's getting his point across that, hey, that's not acceptable here, pal. You know what I mean? But the jumping in, right? Now, go back to last year when something happened in one of the scrimmages and Mayo's response was, well, you try to prevent that stuff, but once it happens, there's really nothing I can do. It's going to play. It's like,
right.
Well, no, VRABEL got in the middle of it.
Yeah. He got involved. That's it.
He got involved. You know what I mean?
So, okay. So, again, has it been a soft camp? I don't know. They come on the scrimmage. They don't look good against each other, but they come up against Washington, who was in the NFC Championship game, and they look great. And when we come back on the other side, we're going to talk about that. But before we go to break, let's talk about Campbell a little bit. Okay. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about him again a little bit as it relates to the joint practice. Yeah. Because you're talking about a tale of two tapes. Mm-hmm. He had a bad week last week. He had a bad week. He was getting, we talked about it on the show last week, getting beaten one-on-ones, get beat on inside moves. It's this guy, he can run block, but he can't, he's not stout. He's not, he gets beats on outside to inside moves by Keon White, guys that aren't really Pro Bowlers, like Max Crosby and Watt and guys that we're going to see.
Yep. Yeah.
So, but then they go into the joint practice and he has a great day. He looked great. Yeah, maybe one issue.
Dietrich Wise beat him once in a one-on-one.
Right. So, what do you make of this? He's going to play tackle. Now, in the scrimmage, he got beat several times, and then he gave him help with the running back, which is what I think you're going to end up seeing this season a lot. You're going to see him get help.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make. I'm
I don't know.
Well, and the team, Mark. But go ahead.
Well, so Chris, here's my thing, right? Here's my thing is he the joint practices, they said it was workmanlike. You wouldn't even know that he was on the field, which is a good thing for an offensive lineman, because he just did his job and he did it well. The one play Wise beats him. So is it a byproduct, Chris, what we saw Friday night, of maybe a couple of things? First of all, your players know you, know your tendencies. Maybe they know his weaknesses, whatever. I don't know. But the other piece of it is, Chris, could it be that our edge guys and our defensive line is better than people are giving us credit for? Like, maybe we're going to have a dominant defensive front, Chris. And no one has said that, but maybe that is the case. You know, they said Milton Williams was dominating people in the, I know we're going to get to the joint practice, but he was dominating people in the joint practice. And so wasn't Bondmore. Right? So could it be that we're going to have one of the top, 5-10 defensive lines in football? Top to bottom, edge, middle. I mean, I still think we're going to struggle against the run, but I'm talking pass rush, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to putting pressure on the quarterback, I don't know, Chris. Maybe that could be.
VRABEL said something that was interesting. I want to go to break on this cut. And Joe, after we play this cut, we'll go to break. I want to go to break on this cut and come back on the other side and discuss it. This is what VRABEL had to say about Campbell, and listen closely.
Getting better every day, and a lot of versatility in his game, and I'm excited about him continuing to work and continue to improve.
Sundays are for football, and here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone. Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. And make sure you are tuning in tomorrow to the Pats Nation, 8 a.m. Eastern. We're going to have so much more breakdown of the scrimmage, of the joint practices in greater detail. So stick around for that. Mike VRABEL said something interesting there.
Yep.
What did you hear? Because I heard a word that makes me a little bit concerned. When I hear somebody say versatile, what's he mean? Is he mean versatile, meaning this is a guard playing tackle, or does he mean versatile within the bounds of playing left tackle?
Yeah, no, I took it as he's versatile. He can probably play multiple positions, right? I don't know. I mean, how?
And it wasn't like he was just singing his
What
praises.
What would versatile be, Chris, playing left tackle? How are you versatile playing left tackle? What, you're good against a run and a pass? I mean, like, that doesn't even make, like, if you're a good left tackle, you're a good left tackle. So you're right. I take it as versatile means, well, he can play tackle or guard.
So you're setting to play special teams?
Yeah, right, Joe. Right, Joe. Right.
He can snap. He can long snap. Listen, are you setting us up for something?
Well, I don't think he's setting you up
this year.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, Chris. He ain't setting you up for anything this year. He is your starting left tackle, like it or not, and let's see what he does. Maybe if he has a real solid year, they keep him there, Chris. But my guess is going to be if they can pick up a left tackle either through free agency or the draft again, they probably would kick this kid into guard because Wilson, who the other rookie looks like he's going to be the left guard, is eventually going to be your starting center for the next 10 years. So you could always put Campbell at guard, Wilson at center, Campbell at guard, and if you got a real good left tackle, Chris, you got to dominate that side of the offensive line.
Doesn't that irritate the living shit out of you, though?
It does irritate. It does irritate me, but I don't know how else to take that versatile comment, Chris. How do you take that?
You know, it could be. Look, here's the thing. This could be a rookie being a rookie, you know, because, I mean, your buddy Greg Bedard, these were his observations before the joint practices. Okay.
Campbell, I would say, Will Campbell, it did not look like he had a good night. Giardi saw this. I didn't. He saw that on a couple of back-to-back plays, gave up pressures to Truman Jones, who Mike VRABEL earlier had praised for his work in the offseason.
Truman Jones.
I would just say we also saw Will Campbell after that get some help from Armando Stevenson. You know, not the worst thing in the world, but I will say this caps a rough week for the 4th overall pick. I'm sure that will be a topic of conversation this week. Again, I'm not panicking. Rookies especially go through this. I want to see how he regroups this weekend, gets a little rest, watches some film, talks with the coaches. Let's see how he does next week.
Okay, so that was for the scrimmage, after the scrimmage last Friday, okay? Or a week ago Friday. Then they had the joint practice with Washington, and he looked so much better. So much better. Dietrich Weiss, and we're going to play this cut tomorrow on the Pats Nation, so make sure you're tuning in. But he basically said, he was asked about his arm length and all that, and he kind of joked about it. He said, look, the arm length's no big deal. I played with guys with short arms and whatever. It's about the heart, and that kid's got heart. I mean, he's a player.
Hot. The kid's a kid. The kid's a tough kid.
Now, one of the things that I recognized out of the joint practice out of Campbell, he had trouble that last week, the week before, with, when I say those outside inside moves. So the moves where defensive ends are starting an outside move and then they go hard inside. Okay. And he had a little bit of trouble gathering himself back to get to be able to slide back inside and take care of that block. And that's the kind of problem he had when he did have issues at LSU, right?
Yeah. So you don't think a guy like Max Crosby is going to see that note? Yeah, I mean,
right. However, when it came to the Commanders, now they don't have an elite pass rush. I'm not saying that, but the point is you're playing against NFL guys. Okay. I mean, you're playing who you're playing. So he corrected that. There were moves where Wise and company were doing that to him, and he corrected it, where he would be able to jab, get off, regather, and then cut that block. Cut the rusher off so that he wasn't getting the May. So I mean, he corrected that issue, Mark. So I don't know what the hell. I mean, listen, like you said, this is where he's going to play, right?
Yeah. Well, Chris, this year, that's where he's playing. He's not playing anywhere else. He's not going to guard. Even if, Chris, opening game, if Crosby beats him up and blows by him for 3 sacks, it doesn't matter. Week 2, Campbell's your starting left tackle. As long as he's healthy, there's no other option there for the season. He's your left tackle, like it or not. So, and let me ask you this, though, Chris. Yeah. After Friday night, but Dodd mentioned, well, hopefully he watches some film and makes some adjustments. And so are we underplaying the fact that you got Doug Marrone in the room, who might have pulled him aside after and said, okay, you got your ass kicked tonight. Let's look at what you did.
Yeah.
And maybe Skarnecchia went into his closet at home and locked himself in there and looked at the tape of that and said to Doug, listen, these are some easy fix. We can fix this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to realize you do got those 2 guys looking at,
and you got a play caller that can hide it. And you got a play caller that can protect it.
Hide it. That's a real good point, Chris. Yeah.
So, I mean, and I think that showed up in the joint practice with Campbell. Yeah. So, look, the offensive line looked good in the joint practice. They did. They looked good. Morgan Moses had nothing to do with it, but they look pretty good. Listen, I'm concerned because I'm worried. I'm worried about right tackle because Jacobs backing him up. Ben Brown. I mean, these guys are horrible. Or not Brown. Who the hell was the other guy that was backing up?
But the joint practices now. You want to get into May versus Daniel?
Yeah, let's talk about May. Let's talk about May a little bit. And then tomorrow we're going to talk tomorrow on the Pats Nation in depth. I got some interesting cuts that we're going to be play on Jaden Daniels and Drake May. But talking about May particularly, he was 15-21. Okay, he looked pretty sharp. He had the 1 pick, and the 1 pick came at the end. He had Demario Douglas wide open. It was a tip pass by I think Wagner or something at the line, or a tip pass, and Wagner picked it off at the line of scrimmage, which I think he'd like to have that back. Otherwise, Marky was sharp. He has command of the offense, it seems. It didn't seem to be a lot of pre-snap stuff, issues, things like that, right?
No.
What do you see?
No, there was not a lot of pre-snap stuff. And Chris, there was some plays where it was one play where he slides in the pocket to the right to create time for himself. And by doing that, Pop Douglas is running across the field and a crosser and is able to get by his guy, and May hits him in stride. But May making space for himself and sliding allowed Douglas to get open.
Yeah.
So he did those little things well.
Yeah.
And
4 out of the 6 incompletions, Mark, mind you, were drops.
Yeah.
And two, and at least 3 of those 4 drops were balls that were perfectly placed. I think Trevion Henderson had one or 2 of them.
Henderson dropped one in the end zone, Chris.
Yeah. Pop Douglas had one. I think Mac Hollins had 2 drops. Yeah. So,
yeah. Speaking, Chris, of Douglas, though, Douglas and Butte and Hollins played well, they said, but Douglas and Butte, our 2 6th-round picks that we liked. Go back and watch that tape, please. Please go watch the tape, because we're the only 2 in this entire region that mentioned those 2 guys pre-draft, draft. They seem to be the best 2 receivers Diggs didn't I don't even know if he played, Chris, in that scrimmage in the joint practice.
No, he didn't do much.
But
he participated, but after 30 minutes he started.
It was limited, yeah. They were the 2 best receivers on the field, Chris, Butte and Douglas. Butte caught a back shoulder touchdown in the end zone. He just keeps catching touchdowns in the end zone.
Booty keeps running with the ones. He's running with the ones. He's running X with the ones. And you know who's falling off, Mark? Williams.
Listen to me. I was going to say that. I was saving that for the Pats Nation. You said, Mark, I want to see this kid when they put the pads on, because he's not going to be able to run with the ones as an X with the pads on. And you were 100% right, Chris, so far.
Not only is he falling back with the ones, he's falling back with the 2s.
Chris, you and I didn't understand what they saw on tape. He ran loose, wide open. Nobody was covering him.
What are you hearing out of Chicago? What are you hearing out of Chicago right now? What are you hearing out of Chicago from their wide receiver room? Just so we know.
The best player on the field is Luther Burden.
Thank you.
Just for the record. And you mentioned, Chris, probably the worst player on the field is Caleb Williams.
Right. Luther Burden.
Caleb Williams is having a very difficult time, I think, picking up Ben Johnson's offense. But Burden, Chris, this one of their practices, I don't know, he did something wrong. Johnson pulled him aside, chewed him out. Burden said, that was me, my bad. I got to be able to watch more tape and figure that out. But then the guy doing the reporting said, however, Burden was clearly the best receiver on the field. That's really frustrating to me.
So during this season, you keep an eye on that and say, who would we rather have had this year? Would we rather have had Trevion Henderson, or would we rather have had Luther Burden? I'll leave it for you out there in our nation to let us know.
We may have to make that a segment, Chris. Burden versus Henderson every week.
Yeah. Luther versus Trevion. Luther. Yeah. So, okay. So I mean, for the joint practice, and I want to,
we're going to get to a lot more detail,
but I want to talk about the defense now.
Yeah.
Okay. There are some position battles.
Yeah.
Okay. That are going on. But Doug talked about that a little bit. This is what he had to say.
On Campbell, I would say, he's had like a rough week, or at least in my opinion, he had a rough week. But talking to people around the team, they love him. They think that he's doing great. And they don't have any concerns about him. Not having Lowe out here has hurt things. They tried to do things in the offseason in terms of free agency. Didn't come to fruition. I'm sure they would have rather had that route. As far as competitions, all 5 offensive line spots are taken care of. They have their starting 5 right now. Wide receiver down the depth chart, there's battles there for 5, 6, and 7 if they end up keeping 7, which I had on my latest 53.
This is what's the more
I would say
interesting.
Safety, there's a lot of competition. To me, it looks
I
like
want to talk about this.
Kyle Duggar could be on the outs. With Craig Woodson, the rookie, sort of stepping up. They have a bunch of guys at safety, and it'll be interesting to see if Duggar ultimately is on this team, whether he's traded or released. The depth cornerback spots, there's a lot of competition, but that's about it.
Okay, Mark, I want to talk about the defense for a second, for a couple of minutes. He talks about Duggar. You and I, when that, isn't it interesting? Okay. Isn't it interesting that the contracts that were given out by the weasel. Okay, Elliot Wolf. All right. Duggar, he's counting for $14 million. Stevenson can't stop fumbling the ball. Tavai doesn't even fit with what this team likes to do.
Kendrick Bourne.
Extended him. I don't even understand that. Okay, and I'm missing somebody else, but
Bentley.
Well,
who's
Bentley
off the team?
Who's off the team?
But he extended him.
So Mark. Okay, these are guys that are fighting now to keep jobs, and these are guys that are counting against cap and money and all this other stuff. Which fine, I don't care about their money. But when I look at the safety spot, we talked about this with Duggar. We talked about this all offseason. What are they going to do with the center field spot? What are they going to do with the free safety spot? Because Duggar cannot. I'm so sick and tired of looking at Duggar watching balls go over his head because he gets caught staring in at the damn quarterback while guys just run clear by him. I mean, look, this type of defense is a more of a cover two style defense where you're going to have safeties. They're going to have to pick up deep coverage.
And Chris, when he came out of college, though,
the guy's like a box safety, Mark. This guy, he's like a linebacker.
But Chris, when he came out of college, wasn't his forte supposed to be he was an unbelievable athlete? What happened to him? He can run back punts. He can run back kickoffs. But what happened to him?
He's done none of that.
No.
He's done none of that. He's great in the running game. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's great at coming forward. You know, the one play that he made, I mean, he's been silent the whole damn summer until he made a noticeable play on 11-on-11. He burst through a gap running on a running play. Big deal.
Big deal.
What do I care about that?
Chris, listen, the kid
Woodson's going to take his job.
I was going to say, this kid Woodson's going to take his job, Chris. But the problem with that, Chris, is you needed Duggar to show something. So maybe you could get like a 6th round pick for him.
Right.
So you don't got to eat the salary when you release him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's a problem. That's an issue. Tavai's going to Tavai shouldn't make this team. He's not the style of linebacker that they need anymore, that they're looking for, that they're the type of off the defense. So they're going to have an issue.
Paying him too much money to keep him on for special teams.
Exactly. So there's going to be some questions at the safety spot. And corner, I'm a little concerned about because these two guys, I mean, Davis came back. He's back.
And Dial's out now for the year.
And he was having a great summer.
He was having a real good summer. And you liked him, Chris. Coming out of college, you said, Mark, this kid could turn into something. And I think he was turning the corner, Chris. He was getting it. And then, unfortunately, now he's out for the year.
Right. But so Alex Austin is a surprise, is a nice surprise. He's been playing well.
But, Chris, you don't have the depth.
No.
Without Dial, they just picked up a corner, I don't know, off the waiver wire, but you don't have any depth at corner now, Chris.
No. Right? Cole Strange was the other guy that they gave money to. Cole Strange. There's another guy that's going to be on the out. Ben Brown. Jennings. And by the way, Jennings is another guy who's not having a bad camp. I like him, but I'm just not sure if there's going to be any room for him.
I was just going to say that, Chris. I don't know if there'll be room for him. He's going to show more than I think than what he's been showing. Because if he doesn't, I don't think there'll be room for him.
So right now, the guys on the outs to me are Bourne, Strange, Brown, Jennings, Tavai, and Duggar.
Bourne, was it Friday night's practice scrimmage? He got rolled up on. His leg got rolled up on. But nobody's telling you what's wrong with him.
Yeah. So again, look, in the back end of the defense, we have some concerns depth-wise and so on. Top end, I think they'll be okay. I think Woodson's going to end up okay. The front seven. Listen, I'm so happy with what I'm seeing out of Bondmore. Forget Milton Williams. Bondmore is going to be the staple of that defensive line, Mark.
Yeah, Bondmore's got himself in great shape, they said, Chris. So Bondmore, he did.
So
and listen, Spillane and those guys, Spillane, they said is having a real good camp, Chris.
Yeah. So we'll pay attention to it. I'm still very concerned about how we stop the run. Very concerned.
Well, we don't have any size, Chris, in the middle. Teams are going to run the ball on you because I think we're going to have a good pass rush. I think we're going to play well again. I think we got, between Bondmore, Keon White, Milton Williams, we got edge guys. We got Landry. I think you got Chazan,
and I think Farmer will give you something. I think
Farmer will
give
eventually
you something.
But Farmer's had a quiet camp, Chris. Haven't heard much of him.
He's been making plays with the twos. He has, and Swinson's been making some plays too. They're just not, they're not running with the ones or anything. But I think those are guys that are depth pieces eventually.
Those are depth pieces, which is fine. But so Chris, my thing is the running game. Teams are going to try to jam the ball down your throat and run because
yes, they are.
And I don't know what happens when that happens. That's what we have to see.
Tonga, who's been playing pretty well. I will say that he's been playing pretty well. He's a guy that's going to have to get on the field, which means Milton Williams is never going to live up to that number or that money. It's just not going to happen. It's just the way it is. It's not his fault.
No, he's going to be a passer. He's going to be a specialist.
So, but the offenses are going to have to deal with those two guys. Bonmore and Williams are going to have to. The offensive coordinator is going to have to sit up and figure out how do we deal with those two guys. And I'm happy that that's happening. So we'll keep you posted. We'll keep going. But Weekly Rewind was presented by, where are we? Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. And we come back. Mark, you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Catone's comment is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help.
Time for Catone's comment.
So I'm a little upset, and I'm going to tell you why. So in the last couple of days, there's a few different things I want to get up chest, but the last couple of days, ESPN has purchased a bunch of things. They purchased the NFL Network. They purchased NFL Red Zone. They purchased, for those people who watch the WWE, which I mean I don't, but they also purchased that. The rights to that to show pay-per-view events. Because right now, if you pay like $8, $9 a month and you got Peacock, well, you get all the pay-per-view events with Peacock. So you don't pay anything extra. Well, now ESPN is buying up all this stuff. Okay? So they're going to, the NFL Network's not going to be the NFL Network like we know it. They'll use ESPN analysts. You'll see that filter over and NFL Game Day. How are you going to have you still going to have Game Day when ESPN has their own show? So that's ridiculous. That's what allowing that to happen. The NFL ought to be ashamed of themselves because now you're gonna squeeze out of the NFL Network the things that make it the NFL Network. What the hell's the point of having it? What did you purchase? I'm sure they're not going to keep it two different entities because that would be a waste of their money and their resources. ESPN, right? The guy that's on the NFL Red Zone, I love. They're not gonna. He's got a 2-year contract. They're not gonna keep him. They're gonna. When that's up, he'll be gone, and they'll use one of their guys to do that probably. If they even keep it, who knows? I don't know. So that's ridiculous in itself. That the NFL, like you're not you had to sell it. You don't have the money, the revenue stream to make that. Their own entity. Leave it their own entity. Are you kidding me? Really? You got to be kidding me. The biggest sports moneymaker there is. Nobody's bigger than the NFL, and you're giving rights up to things to ESPN. Really? That's mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling. The other piece of this that I want to talk about is, and Joe alluded to this a little bit, and Chris did too, earlier in the show today. So all these teams are having these joint practices now, okay? So we just had our joint practice. If you looked around the league, the joint practices started this week, and they'll continue over the next week and a half or so, 2 weeks. Teams are going to have joint practices with other teams. And in those joint practices, for the most part, that's where the ones get their run-in. They do significant work in those joint practices with the ones. Because on Friday night, I bet you see Drake May in a cup for, come in for, maybe he'll be in for a couple of series.
Maybe.
Maybe you're not going to see him play a first half or even a whole first quarter. He's not going to play the whole first quarter. Okay, you'll see Dobbs in there. So now they've watered down. So not only reduce the number of preseason exhibition games you have, they've also watered them down. They've become meaningless because you don't even see what you want to see out of those you used to before. Now they're doing it in joint practices, but yet they're grabbing money from the season ticket holders, right? Like Chris is going to get part of his package are those preseason games. So now Kraft has got the gimmick Friday night. That joint's going to be so Friday night because you got the statue going up for Brady. He's not stupid. Oh, he picked that night to do it because you'll sell out a preseason game. Even though nobody's playing because you had all your ones play in the joint practices. So if you're going to have joint practices, Chris, they should open that up. They should have it inside the stadium, put it in the stadium, and let the season ticket holders go to that if they want. So they can watch the joint practice and actually watch the ones go through and work out and play. You at least owe that to the people that are spending money, right? Your season ticket holders. Throw them a bone. Give them something. Let them go to the joint practice and open up the stadium. Have the game inside the stadium and let them do it there. What the hell's the difference? You had that thing Friday night for season ticket holders. That they had that joint scrimmage. It was a scrimmage. That should have been that thing for season ticket holders. But it should have been the joint practice with the Redskins. I almost said the Reds. Excuse me. The Commanders. They should have had it with the Commanders.
Yeah. So because it's 11 in the morning on a Wednesday.
So move it to whatever, I guess.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you. I agree with you. It's bullshit.
What they're doing they're watering down the preseason. Now the preseason is meaningless. You have what are the point of exhibition games then? Just have joint practices. Don't even play preseason games then. Who cares?
Right. Because they're so foolish. Do you season tickets out there, holders out there? Look, you're talking 30 what? What have I had these 32 years, something like that, some crazy number like that. It's all BS. They fool you on. No. They sell you on 20 games. It's a 20-game season. It's not a 20-game season. No, it's not. They sell you on 11, a 10-game season or a 9-game home season. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's a joke. Nobody's going to play, and I don't want them to play. I don't want Drake May to play. I don't need him to play. I don't want him to play.
No, you don't need him to play, Chris.
I don't want him getting hurt. I'm fine with the joint practices. Do it that way. I'm with you. Televise those. I'll buy that.
Yeah. But Chris, you're right. Okay, even if you're not
on a delay, sell it. You can watch it later on. You can subscribe and you can watch it anytime you want. Stream it.
Yeah, even if you don't want to open it up to season ticket holders, you're right, Chris. Televise it at least.
Yeah.
Why can't
how about give the season ticket holders free? How about give them the free preseason tickets for free? Oh, can you imagine? God forbid. Can you ever see that happening? Oh, no, we couldn't do that. What do you mean? Whoa, just give us the tickets? No,
I'm going to tell you what. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what really burned me up too. Was when I heard ESPN was buying NFL Network and Red Zone. Really?
It pissed me off just as much as it pissed me off that now that crew, the TNT crew, Barkley and company, they're all on ESPN now. Watch the difference. We'll watch the difference in that show now. You see.
Yeah.
You go watch the Inside the NBA now on ESPN as opposed to what it was in Turner Network and the things those guys are going to be clamped down. Because let's face it, this is not about politics. I don't care how you lean. The bottom line is ESPN, ABC, they're going to clamp down on things you can say and not say. If you think you're going to let Barkley and company go off the way they do and put out some of the things that those guys say on that show,
they're not going to do on ESPN. They're not going to be allowed to do that on ESPN.
And the same thing's going to happen with the NFL.
Oh, the NFL Network. They're not going to have those people on that we have. Like the NFL Network has ESPN has their own, Chris, fantasy show. Well, they got that fantasy show with Cynthia Freeland and a couple of the other guys on the NFL Network.
You love Cynthia Freeland.
They're not going to have her on anymore.
Personality. It's Mark's favorite personality in all of sports.
What? No.
Well, she is. You like her analysis. You like how she breaks it down. She's an analytical human.
And just like you like what you call it, she's always inquisitive when she sits with the players, is Kay Adams.
Adam.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they'll bring Kay Adams back, ESPN. Maybe they'll bring her on. You know?
It was terrible when she left.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Listen, I'm with you. Because it's a money grab. This ain't nothing about the fact that all the streaming crap. I gotta log into this. I gotta buy that. I gotta purchase this. I gotta fool my TV into thinking I'm in New England so that I can watch it over here. It's like I'm waiting for the feds to show up on my doorstep over here. You know what I mean?
Get me started on that crap.
And then ESPN, they're gonna buy the rights to the WWE specialty shows. So now they're gonna charge $19.99 on top of the ESPN service. So you're gonna buy the app, Chris. You're gonna pay you're gonna pay the
What's
whatever
that,
you pay.
wrestling?
Yeah, well, what do you pay? Like, what is it? $9-10 for ESPN Plus, whatever it is, right? You're gonna pay for that, right? And then they're gonna make you pay an extra $19.99 a month on top of the $10, say. So you're gonna be paying $30 a month for ESPN Plus if you want to have access to the wrestling. Which doesn't matter to me. I'm not gonna watch wrestling, obviously, but
That's all right. We got to watch it. We got Mark and I. Put Mark and I in a room in a ring. We'll throw each other around. You can give us $15 a month.
But listen,
I'd pay $30 to see that.
but right now, Chris, if you got Peacock, $9. I don't want to Peacock is $9-10. You get all those wrestling events.
Yeah,
not anymore.
I don't even know what I have. I got them all, and I don't even know what the hell it is. I don't know what I have. I don't know Acorn. I don't know what that is. Saw that bill the other day. I don't know what the hell Acorn is, but I got it. You know, I don't know what kind of streaming.
You don't even know what you don't even. All I know
only
is
watch one thing. Well, you can. You're the only
Joe,
person in America.
All I know is Joe. He's paying for all these services, and he sends me things at night. He's watching Godzilla from 1936. I don't know what he's watching, Joe.
I literally went through my phone and had to delete like 15 videos that he'd send me at 2 a.m. in the morning. He's watching all this garbage.
When I'm gone, you'll all cry. You know? All I can say. Mark, I'm with you. It's nonsense.
Hey,
it's
listen,
BS. It's just a racket.
One last
That's
thing before we go to the next segment. And I don't want you or Joe to respond. This is next week's Catone's comment. It is a preview of next week's Catone's comments. I got a torn quadricep, but I'm not going to tell you how it happened, why it happened, but I will. That'll be Catone's comments next week.
Catone's comments was presented by the Pats Nation. Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to have the breakdown of that scrimmage, the joint practice with Washington. We're going to talk a little bit more about this as far as preseason games versus joint practices, all that and more. Make sure you're sticking around. When we come back, I think he's still pissed. Mark, you still stay pissed off right now because Yankees versus Red Sox is next.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone. Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. All right, let's get right to it. Yankees versus Red Sox. Let's hear Godzilla. That's pretty much what Mark sounded like the other night when he called about the Yankees.
Let me ask you a question, Chris. What's the definition of insanity?
Right. The same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result.
That's Boone. He keeps bringing out Devin Williams. He keeps cutting Devin Williams out of the
Well, are you hearing what I'm hearing? I'm hearing he's going to get fired now.
Well, listen. I want to know. Maybe Cashman was on the boat with Diggs. Joe, do we got the video of the boat?
He just wants to see the video again. That's all he cares about.
Joe,
figure out how to bring it out one day.
Let's see if Cashman was on the boat. Why don't we watch it again, Chris?
Right? All he cares about is watching that damn video.
But Chris, Boone is gonna have pitches on somebody. He's gonna have pitches. I don't understand what he's got.
Well, now they're 6.5 games out of the lead in the division. Boston is now past them, and they're a game and a half. They're two and a half games up on them.
First of all, Chris, you made you traded even Cashman, Chris. So you traded for like 4 bullpen arms. The first night you bring them out of the bullpen, they blow a lead. A 4-run lead they blow. You bring all these new guys in that you just brought in, and they blew the 4-run lead, and you blew the game. Right? So what did that do? Right? Your lineup is totally flawed. I get Judge has been hurt. I get it. He was hurt. He's back. It's going to take him a few games now to get back into the groove. I get it. But Chris.
Yeah, but it's much more than that.
It's much more than that, Chris. Anthony Volpe can't field the ball. He's making errors. He's batting. I don't care if he's got 20 home runs. He's batting 230, 225. Okay?
That's a guy that should have been on the block. That's a guy that should have been dangled.
Yep. Maybe somebody would have taken him. He's still got the possibilities, young enough where he's still got maybe potential, but you don't need him. You got George Lombard sitting in the minor leagues. Why didn't you? You're right, Chris. Why didn't you trade Volpe and see what you could get? Maybe you could have gotten something for him at the trade deadline, right? You didn't get any starting pitching, Chris, at the trade deadline. You just got relief help. So they think their starting pitching is all set.
Look, this team may not make the playoffs.
Listen, if they the only good thing, and I was saying this to my son yesterday, the only silver lining is if they fall out of the wild card picture, it's a guaranteed Boone. They'll never be able to bring Boone back, Chris. They'll have to fire him. They'll have to.
Yeah.
You know, and now they're saying, well, you know, now that we got over the hump yesterday, they won a game and they almost blew that game in the ninth inning. They had runners on first and second. You know, we got through that mental block now. What?
You know, he's been needing to go for quite some time. I mean, that's it. And Cashman too. Look,
Chris, listen, every year they're one of the worst base running teams in baseball. How that's not on the manager, that fundamentally you run yourself into outs. You don't take an extra base. You don't bunt guys over in extra innings from second base.
Yeah. I mean, I watch them leave guys on.
0-7 or 0-8 in extra inning games on the road. You can't win on the road in an extra inning game.
Mark, they were in an extra inning game. They had second and third with no outs. They had second and third. I believe there were no outs. They couldn't get the run in.
They couldn't get a run in, Chris. Like
squeeze. I don't care. Do something. Do something different.
I was just going to say that. Do something different, Chris. Come on. But the Devin Williams thing, Chris, he blows a save. The next night, you bring him back in. What are you doing? Why would you put him in the same situation again? You bring him back again? I don't understand it.
Listen, they're in jeopardy of not making the playoffs, and I hope they don't. Mark, I hope they don't. Because that's the only way things are going to change.
You got this kid Dominguez in left field. You never moved him out of left field. Should have never have happened. That was from day one. I mean, it's just I don't know where they turn, but they're in trouble, Chris. And now the opposite end of the spectrum, you got those Red Sox. Now, all of a sudden, Chris, Corso is being mentioned as possible. You know, he's in the running for manager of the year.
Right. They're leading in wild. They're the number one wild card team right now. They're 4 games out of the lead in the division. Okay. And they're 4 games out of the AL's best record is Boston. They're on fire. Now they lost the other night, but
I still think Boone is overrated. I'm not going to bring fundamentals and errors and I'm not going to hop back on all the stuff we've mentioned all year long about Corso because I still think those things are there. Yeah. But they're winning baseball games, Chris, despite Corso, because Cora's stealing signs, had a bench clearing ball. Isn't that ironic? They had a bench clearing ball against
Houston of all teams. Yeah. Of all teams. Now, I mean, Mark, look, listen.
What do you think their new strategy, Chris, is signing these young guys, though? They signed Anthony.
Okay, I want to ask you about that. Okay. The Roman Anthony signing. Jared Carabas has the podcast. This is what he had to say about that.
For all the people out there complaining, there's nobody on earth that would have said no to this deal at 21 years old. You can't say no to this. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. It's a great deal for the Red Sox. It's a great deal for Roman Anthony. And now, Jared, as you've been saying, you have the Roman Empire.
No doubt. And I think that's a big piece of it. I'm glad you brought that up, is that it's exciting that the players are seeing what the future can look like. And I know that, at the end of the day, you can buy someone's friendship for $500 million. I'm sure it's up for grabs. But I think Roman's sort of looking around saying, I see the vision. I see that I'm the piece of this. I'm looking around, and it's a very young team. A lot of the guys are locked up long term. And it's, what do you want your legacy to be? Do you want to be the guy that makes $500 million? Cool. Yeah, that's great. And it's a huge accomplishment. Cool. But do you also want to be the guy that builds something special and is a cornerstone of a championship core? That sounds pretty cool to me too, all while having over $100 million. Like, yeah, I'm signing up for that.
Okay.
I threw up in my mouth when I heard that.
But does he understand, Chris, the rules of baseball?
No.
So he can't go make $500 million yet. He's nowhere near doing that. He's got to go to arbitration.
Derek Carabas has got his head so far up Henry's ass. He don't even see the sunlight.
For a 21-year-old kid, it's a $130 million deal, but then there's incentives that could get him to over $200 million.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But do they understand, Chris? He did it because by the time he's eligible to get out of the contract, he'll be in his 27, 20, say 28, 29.
Well, they got him. They could control him till 2034.
Okay, but Chris.
So basically, only added 2 years to what they already had.
That's when he would be able to get out of the contract. It added 2 years because then he'll go get his $500 million at 28 or 29 years old.
Listen,
so he's still going to go get it. Like, what are they talking about? They gave this guy an incentive to make him happy, but he can't go anywhere right now. So why are you throwing money at him?
This has nothing to do with him seeing the future, him seeing the writing. That's all bullshit. This has nothing to do with that. This was. I'm doing what I think is good for me at the moment. I'm going to take the money grab now. But on the other side of it, looking at the Red Sox, look, all these people saying, I'm pissed at the Red Sox anyway. Is it a smart move by the Sox to do it? Yeah. But you know what? It's not a smart move. It's a mid-market move. That's what this is. This is a Tampa move. This is a Milwaukee Brewers move. This is what they do. And if I can't lock the guy up early, then I'm going to be Mookie Betts. I'm going to be Devers. I'm going to be Bogarts. And all these guys go out the door because this tells you they're never, ever, ever, ever going to pay at the top of the market. They'd rather take the risk that Roman Anthony's a bust. He's played 46 games. That's it. There was no reason to do this now.
That's a real good point analysis there.
They're cheap bastards. Henry's a cheap bastard.
Chris, that's a mid-market move. No one. You listen to all these cronies and mouthpieces. No one has said that it's a mid-market move. That's what it is. That's what these teams do, and that's what the Red Sox have become. They've become a mid-market team, and
that's what they are.
They locked him up. They locked up Rafaela. They locked up. Who's the other guy? They locked up. Crochet's locked up.
The other kid, Campbell,
they locked him up, which I think he's going to be a bust, in my opinion.
And they're willing to take that gamble.
They're willing to take the gamble. Crochet is a stud. He's a bona fide #1 starter. He's a stud. He's a Cy Young Award winner. That contract,
listen,
they did
I'm
a
happy
thing with that contract.
Mark, I'm happy they got Roman Anthony locked up. Good for them. Great. Yeah. I'm happy that the Red Sox have this guy. But it's for the wrong. Look, all you need to know is what they did with this Joe Ryan deal. They should be crucified for what the hell happened. Coming in with 15 minutes left in the trade deadline and making a call to Minnesota and talking as if that was a legit real thing. I mean, I have the cut. We don't have time to play it. But Mark, that's nonsense.
That's crap.
That's nonsense.
That's crap. Yeah, Chris, real quick because we're up against the clock. Did the Yankees did they get a wild card?
Are they making the playoffs? Is that what you said? Yeah.
Did the Yankees get in? They'll get in? All right.
So we'll see. Right. Pay attention. Keep it up. But the Red Sox are cheap. Corso and Catone was presented by I think he and Henry and Kraft go to dinner together all the time. Corso and Catone was presented by the Pats Nation. Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Like I said, we're going to have breakdown of the scrimmage, joint practice, and anything else. And come back next week, noon Eastern. Going to talk more Patriots camp, Yankees, Red Sox, Catone's comments, anything you bring to the table. We will be ready. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Now find Corso and Catone on AM 790, The Score, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you podcast. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch the chaos every Saturday at noon.